The French government has raised its security alert posture to the highest level after the deadly attack at a Russian concert hall and the Islamic State's claim of responsibility.
프랑스 정부는 이슬람국가 IS가 배후를 자초한 최근의 러시아 공연장 테러 사건 이후 자국 보안 경계 태세를 최고 수준으로 높였습니다. A lot of countries in Europe are taking preventative measures, but of course France has an Olympic event coming up.
Exactly.
And,
The Paris Olympics and Paralympics are a big deal. They were already on high alert, and now they've gone up to their third. They have three levels. They've gone up to their highest level now, the attack emergency level. And that's activated if there's an attack in France or abroad, or when there's a threat that's considered imminent. So certainly I think they're taking this very, very seriously. They're very, very worried. And what that means is there will be exceptional security measures. So that's increased patrols of armed forces in public places. I think they just want to make sure that the citizens of France are safe.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because, I mean, the attack in Moscow that was claimed by the Islamic State K group, we're talking 137 people or more were killed, 140 injured.
Yeah.
It's very scary that this kind of thing can happen. And I think in the back of everyone's minds, in Paris at least, was that awful attack at the Bataclan Theatre back in 2015. And they want to make sure that nothing like that happens again.
Absolutely. Let's have a look at the first expression, which is security alert posture.
How do I look, Sue?
Yeah,
How do I look? How's
thinking
my
about
posture?
my posture right now.
So this-
자세.
Yeah, it's a little bit different to posture when we talk about our bodies, because that's how we're sitting or standing or how we are.
Yep.
Whereas posture here is more about your attitude or your position towards something, you know, how you feel or how you're going to act towards it. So in terms of governments or businesses, when we talk about their posture, it could be to do with security, it could be to do with the economy, it could be to do with sales and marketing. The point is, this is their attitude, this is what they're doing.
posture라는 게 우리 그냥 일상생활 속에서는 자세예요. 그래서 you have very good posture, Paul.
No, I don't.
이게 자세가 굉장히 좋으시네요. 이게 반듯하게 앉고 걷고 할 때 사실 이 posture만 잘해도 키도 좀 더 커 보이고 좀 더 날씬해 보이고 그렇다라고 하더라고요.
I feel taller already and I can't reach the mic anymore.
선생님은 원래 키 크시니까 뭐 상관은 없겠지만 posture가 여기서는 근데 자세가 아니라 security alert posture예요. 그러니까 보안 경계 태세, 그 어떤 방침이나 정책을 의미한다고 볼 수 있겠어요. 프랑스의 보안 경계 관련된 여러 가지 이제 단계들이 있을 텐데 그런 거를 이제 여기서는 posture라고 표현을 했네요. 그래서 security alert에서 highest level, 가장 높은 수준의 보안 경계 태세를 지금 갖추고 있다. 이걸 이렇게 표현을 했습니다. 자, 그 다음에는 claim responsibility, or in this case, claim of responsibility.
Yeah, so if you claim responsibility, you say, I did it, or this is mine, or this is because of me. You're saying, this is all my fault, or this is all my doing. So very often, in the office, you want to claim responsibility for the work that you do.
Yeah.
Don't let your boss claim responsibility for something he didn't do. Make sure you claim it. However, it can also be used in these really tragic incidents where terrorists are claiming responsibility for an attack, meaning they take the credit for it. They say, we did it. It was our attack.
That's right. So you have to remember these two terms together, claim and responsibility. 동사일 때 claim responsibility 하면은 내 소행이요라고 말한다는 뜻입니다.
네.
그래서 자신의 소행이라고 주장할 때 A claimed responsibility 이렇게 claim을 동사로 쓸 수도 있고 여기선 명사예요. 그래서 IS's claim of responsibility. of가 들어간 이유는 바로 claim이 명사이기 때문에 이게 주장, 내가 한 소행이다라는 주장이란 뜻인데 이걸 이제 한마디로 말하면 이 사건의 배후에는 우리가 있었어. 이렇게 얘기하는 거죠. 그래서 보통 뉴스에서 어떤 사건의 배후에 누가 있었다라고 할 때 someone claimed responsibility or someone was behind the attack 이렇게 말할 수도 있습니다.
네.
네, 다시 한번 읽어볼게요. The French government has raised its security alert posture to the highest level after the deadly attack at a Russian concert hall and the Islamic State's claim of responsibility. Let's move on to the next headline.
A British runner has made history by becoming the first woman to complete the gruelling Barkley Marathons race in the US with just 1 minute, 39 seconds to spare of the 60-hour cutoff.
혹독하기로 유명한 미국의 바클리 마라톤 경주에서 영국의 한 주자가 총 60시간의 마감 시간을 단 1분 39초 남기고 골인해 이 대회를 여성 최초로 완주하는 기록을 세웠습니다. There's something confusing about this story, and that is the name of the person. So, this race took part in America.
Yes.
The winner was British.
Yes.
But her name is Paris.
Well, Jasmine Paris.
네, 이름이 Paris여가지고
Yes.
이제 처음 볼 때는 이제 조금 헷갈릴 수 있지만 그냥 이름일 뿐입니다. 영국 사람이고요, Jasmine Paris.
Yes, from Midlothian, and she's done what no other woman was able to do, which is
Okay.
complete this course. And my goodness,
Can you tell us about this race?
this is a tough race.
Okay.
It takes place in Tennessee at the Frozen Head State Park. It's 161 kilometers, involving over 18,000 meters of climbing and descent. That's about twice the height of Mount Everest.
Oh,
You're going
wow.
up and down Mount Everest twice. Only 20 people have ever succeeded because there's this 60-hour cutoff. She was 40 years old. And well, she lost her voice by the end, so she couldn't actually have any interviews. She had to text message journalists to say what she thought. It's a weird race because there's no markings to say where you have to go. You have to memorize the course, and then there are a number of books along the course. So anywhere
Okay.
between 9 and 14 books. And you have to find each book and you have to tear out the page according to your racer number so that at the end you can prove you found every single book. So it's like a treasure hunt, a race and a mountain climb all in one.
And this takes days, 60 hours.
60 hours, yeah. And if you finish at 60 hours and 1 minute, you're still disqualified. You're still a loser.
듣기만 해도 약간 숨이 턱턱 막힐 것 같은 생각이 드는 게 일단은 레이스 경주라서 좀 저는 그냥 좀 달리는 건가 많이 달리나 그랬더니 그게 아니네요. 이렇게 거의 에베레스트 산의 2배 높이가 되는 정도의 등반과 이제 등산 하산 계속 이어지는 것이 있고 일단은 총 마감 시간은 60시간이라고 합니다. 근데 이 60시간을 그 안에 완주하기가 힘들어서 지금까지 20명 정도밖에 완주 못했다고요? 이번에 20명?
yeah, so a total.
이번에 20명이 완주를
Oh,
했어.
no, in the history of it.
In the
only
history.
Only 20 people have.
이 경주 역사상
It's that difficult, Sue.
20명밖에 완주를 하지 못했고 이번에는 5명이
네.
완주를 했나요? 와, 그게 60시간이면 사실 며칠이잖아요. non-stop 계속 하는데 굉장히 흥미로운 것은 중간중간 책이 있답니다. 이 책에 자신의 그 넘버가 있잖아요. 다 그 달리기 선수마다 레이스 넘버가 있는데 그 넘버에 해당되는 페이지를 찢어가지고 나중에 결승선을 통과하고 나서 내가 여길 지났다라는 증거로 그 찢어진 페이지를 보여줘야 되는 굉장히 특이하네요.
Yeah, because there is no set course and it's running through the night in extreme conditions, and therefore you can't have people sort of waiting at these points to check. So these books are a way of proving that you've completed the race properly.
사진을 보니까 이 Jasmine Paris라고 하는 영국 여성이 그 말을 전혀 못하더라고요. 뭐 목소리를 잃었다고 이제 말씀해 주셨는데 그냥 이렇게 푹 쓰러져가지고 마지막에 굉장히 힘들어하는 모습이었는데 그래도 어쨌든 60시간이라는 기한 안에 들어왔어요. 가까스로. She made it. There was a 60-hour cutoff. Let's have a look at that expression.
Yeah, meaning you had to do it within 60 hours or you're disqualified. It doesn't count. If there's a cutoff for something, for example, students will be familiar with cutoffs. Another word for them will be deadlines. You have to hand in your homework by this time. Otherwise, you will be penalized, will be punished, you will get detention.
네, 60시간이라는 기한이 있었다. 제한 시간. 네, 그런 의미로 there was a 60-hour cutoff라고 하고요. 이 전체 경주가 very gruelling 했습니다.
Oh, this word, I mean, the sound of it, grueling, is not very
Gruelling,
nice.
yeah.
It means it's really tough, it's exhausting, it's difficult, it's awful. If something is grueling, I will say, and no offense to the people who make it, I think the 수능 is a grueling exam. Students come in first thing in the morning and they have to go all the way through to the afternoon. They work so hard, and by the end, I'm sure everybody's exhausted.
진짜 굉장히 지칠 것 같은 생각이 드는데 이 레이스도 그렇고 지금 시험 보는 많은 수험생분들도 그렇고요. grueling하다는 게 굉장히 힘들다, 혹독하다라는 뜻입니다. 다시 한번 읽어볼게요. A British runner has made history by becoming the first woman to complete the gruelling Barkley Marathons race in the US with just 1 minute 39 seconds to spare of the 60-hour cutoff. And let's move on to the final headline.
The Australian government has announced it will support a minimum wage increase in line with inflation this year as low-income families continue to grapple with costs of living.
호주 정부는 저소득 가구의 생활비 고충이 지속되자 올해 법정 최저임금을 물가 상승률에 맞춰 인상하는 안을 검토 중이라고 발표했습니다. So currently it's already at over $20 per hour.
Yeah, but the inflation continues to rise. They rose it last year by 5.75% because the cost of living had surged. People were worried that doing that would stoke inflation, but it seems like it hasn't. We have inflation slowing in Australia, 2-year lows at the moment. So they're doing it again because they've said the real wages of low-paid workers should not go backwards. That is their position, which is fair enough. They want everyone to be paid a fair wage. So we'll see what happens. Everyone's expecting it to be to go ahead. The Treasurer has said that they're expecting to do it, so we will see. They have their upcoming budget in May. They also said they're going to deliver tax cuts for every taxpayer from July this year.
Right.
So hopefully good news for Australian citizens.
그럼 현재 호주의 최저임금이요. 23 호주 달러 정도 됩니다. 그래서 이걸 이제 원화로 환산하게 되면은 2만 원 정도인데 지금 물가 상승률에 맞춰서 조금 더 올리겠다라고 얘기를 하고 있어요. So let's have a look at this expression, in line with inflation.
Yeah, if you do something in line with something, you're matching it or you're following it. You're trying to be equivalent to it or to stabilize it, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
So in this case, they want to make sure that workers have enough money to match the rise in the cost of living.
그래요. In line with 뭐뭐뭐 무엇에 맞춰서라는 의미가 되겠습니다. 물가 상승에 맞춰서 in line with inflation. What about grappling with something?
I think of a sport, Sue. You know what sport I'm thinking of?
No.
Shiram.
Ah, yes.
Traditional Korean wrestling, because those wrestlers grapple with each other. They grab onto their belts and they pull and they push and they try to topple them over. So that's the literal meaning. To grapple with is you're holding on and you're fighting like that. But it can also mean to try to handle or control an issue or a problem. So every country in the world at the moment is grappling with the rise in the cost of living, with high inflation. We're all grappling with that. We're all fighting against it.
그렇죠. 씨름 선수를 연상하라고 알려주시니까 딱 그 그림이 그려지네요. Grappling with something은 무언가를 붙잡고 힘들게 문제를 해결한다든지 씨름 선수 같은 경우에는 뭐 이기려고 하는 거겠죠. 네, 그렇게 뭔가를 해 나가려고 하는데 힘든다. 이게 들어 있어요.
So it's like if I asked you to eat an apple with chopsticks, you'd have to grapple with the apple.
I would have to grapple with the apple, and that rhymes, of course. The grapple with something, 무엇을 하려고 부단히 노력하고 애쓰는 모습을 말합니다. 여기서는 물론 grappling with the cost of living이라고 했어요. 생활비가 너무 많이 올라서 굉장히 힘들어하는 호주인들의 얘기였습니다. 자, 다시 한번 읽어볼게요. The Australian government has announced it will support a minimum wage increase in line with inflation this year as low-income families continue to grapple with costs of living. And that's it for the headlines.